So, good afternoon, everybody. I know what you mean now by listening to a Dharma talk with a belly full. I think I already ate today. But we have an antidote to sleepiness. We are going to read this. You're going to read this that we have prepared for you, and then we're going to quiz you. We are going to quiz you number 1, number 2, okay, on all those things to see if you are listening. So it's a lot of fun. If you don't want to play, that's okay. But if you wanna play, and also you can look at the papers. Well, really, real exam. Just to see if I can keep you awake during the next hour. So we always have some volunteers for reading. Yeah, it's a slow read because, but yeah.
Well, where would you like me to start? Just from the title?
Yeah.
And just read number 1?
Yeah.
The Prajna Paramita Sutra, foreword. Extracted from the foreword by the renowned scholar Robert Thurman to Mother of the Buddhas by Lex Hixon.
Everyone at home can hear well? Yeah? Okay.
The Prajnaparamita Sutra, considered to be the original text of the Mahayana, the universal vehicle of Buddhism. It became prominent about 100 BC, or about 400 years after the parinirvana, death or final nirvana, of the Shakyamuni Buddha. Traditional Mahayana Buddhist scholars consider that the sutra actually records the messianic teachings of the Buddha himself. The Buddha considered that the developing societies of his time in India needed 400 years of preparation and purification by the monastic education and renunciative ethic he taught more openly, as recorded in the Pali Suttas, foundational in the monastic or individual vehicle of Buddhism. Otherwise, people, still rough and violent, might misappropriate the teachings of the sutra and use it to legitimize crusades and other campaigns of conquest. However, later on, Indian Buddhists of 100 BC were tired of monastic restraint and purity and longed for a social gospel of love and compassion.
Okay, please. Why is the Mahayana considered the universal vehicle of Buddhism? Maybe this is not in the writing, but you might know that. Why is the Mahayana considered the universal vehicle of Buddhism?
Are you quizzing me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
I wasn't, but since we
I think it is in the text. Because it's a social gospel of love and compassion.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have another question about that, but it's because it includes everyone. Everyone. It's not individual awakening, it's everyone. Yeah, but that makes it very attractive, definitely. Okay, second.
I pass.
What teaching does the Sutra record? You passed it. What teaching does the Sutra record?
Teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha.
Yes. Yeah. What did the Buddha hide the Sutra?
Why? Why did?
Yeah. Why did he? Why did the Buddha hide the Sutra?
As human beings needed to purify and eliminate some of their violence and bad habits.
Yeah. Otherwise, what could have happened?
They could use it as a way to justify their negative behavior.
And why did the sutra come to life later?
Because you say that again.
Why did the sutra come to life later?
Because Indian monastics were kind of chafing under the strict old individual, the Theravadan tradition.
And they needed a gospel of love and compassion.
Yes, yes.
And people were ready for a gospel of love and compassion. Okay, so second, who wants to read second? Oren.
There was a young bodhisattva named Priyadarshana who was a student of the great lay sage Vimalakirti, who attained a high level of wisdom. The Buddha had predicted that this young man would be reborn in southern India 400 years later and would be recognized by the word Naga, dragon. The legend goes that Nagarjuna was approached by Nagas, dragons, in human form, after one of his lectures at the monastery of Nalanda. They invited him to their undersea kingdom to see some texts that they thought would be of interest to him. He went with them magically under the sea and discovered a vast treasure trove of the Mahayana Sutras. Not only the Prajnaparamita Sutra, but also the inconceivable liberation, the jewel heap, the lotus, the Pure Land Sutras. He spent 50 Earth years studying these texts, and then he brought them back into human society, promulgated them throughout India. Later, Nagarjuna wrote his master work, Wisdom, the root verses of the Central Way.
Which is the same as saying of central verses of the middle way. Root verses of the middle way. So Nagarjuna is basing his teachings on the middle way in this sutra. So quiz. What was the name of the previous incarnation of Nagarjuna? What was the name of the previous incarnation of Nagarjuna? People at home, you can just answer. You don't have to raise your hand, just answer if you feel like it.
Iradrashana.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
How did sages recognize that Nagarjuna was the person predicted by the Buddha?
Have the dragon in his name.
Naga. The word Naga. Yeah. All right. Section 3. Anyone wants to read?
The original Prajnaparamita Sutra is the text called the Great Mother, the Prajnaparamita Sutra of 100,000 lines. Over the centuries, various abridged versions have emerged, including the very short one-letter sutra, the letter A, the short heart sutra, the concise diamond cutting sutra, the 8,000 line, the 18,000 or 20,000 line, and the 25,000 line sutras. These are all considered to be the same sutra, differing only in length and detail. Among them, the 8,000 line version, on which Hixon's meditations are based, is very highly regarded in all the Mahayana traditions. The famous sixth ancestor of Zen in China, Wei Ning, recalled his own perfect wisdom upon a single hearing of the diamond cutting version of the Prajnaparamita Sutra. All versions of these perfect wisdom sutras are considered to be holy matrices for the attainment of perfect wisdom. Prajnaparamita is a mother overflowing with kindness, opening her arms to all her innumerable children. And she is a very exacting mother, fiercely determined that no harm befall her children from any sort of error or misunderstanding.
Okay. Quiz. What is the shortest Prajnaparamita Sutra? A. You know that I changed the prayer flag and the abbey because they were all just raggedy or frailing, and I don't have the time to make them by hand anymore. You know, they were all made by hand, and so I got these vinyl triangular flags, and I said I have to put something here. You know, A. Each flag has the shortest version of the Prajnaparamita Sutra. And then Roshi has another important thing regarding this letter A.
Yeah, well, those of you who have done the 100 miscellaneous poems, there's a poem in there called the Aji Kwan, and Ji means the sound, and Kwan stands for koan, so it's the sound of a koan. And there's a verse that says, "To see the Aji Kwan clearly wipes out the 5 grave sins. To gain results by true words, this very body becomes Buddha." And when we chant the Heart Sutra, which is also a shortened version of the Prajnaparamita Sutra, the first word is Avalokitesvaram. So, but the first syllable is Ah.
Mhm.
If you just really chant the first syllable of the Heart Sutra, as it says here, it wipes out the 5 grave sins. And you realize that your body is a body of Buddha.
Okay. Please. Which version of the Prajnaparamita Sutra is Lex Hixon meditations based on?
8,000 lines.
Yay! 8,000 line version. Which famous is
it's in
that
the-
one?
it's
If
in the
anybody
book.
wants to
Yeah.
have this treasure book.
Book, it's Lex Hixon, book for the mother of the Buddhists.
Which famous Zen master was enlightened upon hearing a verse of the Diamond Cutting Sutra? We all know that, right? But you know which verse was it? Abiding nowhere, raise the Bodhi mind. Yes.
So is that the Diamond Sutra? Is the same as the Diamond Sutra?
The which one? The one
That's the
that we named her?
yeah.
Yeah, it's a verse from the.
So the Diamond Sutra is a version of the Prajnaparamita
Yeah.
Sutra.
It's a yes. It's extracted from Prajnaparamita. One more thing. I want you to tell me who is Prajnaparamita, because the description in here is so beautiful. It's worth repeating.
Great mother.
This is. Can you reread this? The last paragraph.
Oh, version of this perfect wisdom.
Prajnaparamita is a mother overflowing. Lucero, you continue.
It's on page 3 at the top.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I have another page. Sorry.
Oh, I have a different.
It's the next page.
The Prajna Paramita is a mother overflowing with kindness, opening her arms to all innumerable. And she is a very excited mother, perseverable, determined that no harm befall her children from any sort of error or misunderstanding.
This is why it's called the universal vehicle, because this Prajna Paramita is a mother that is protecting all her children fiercely. Fiercely. Then we are going, number 4 is already just part of the introduction to the Prajnaparamita Sutra. So who would like to read forward?
Mahayana, the gentle revolution. Mahayana is the compassionate and liberating illumination of our conventional universe through subjectless, objectless knowing. Mother of the Buddhas presents 40 selections from the root scriptures of Mahayana Buddhism, the Prajnaparamita Sutras in 8,000 lines. The Prajnaparamita Sutra clearly describes the mature practitioner of Mahayana, the diamond being, or bodhisattva. The bodhisattva will always maintain a motherly mind, consecrated to the constant protection, education, and maturing of conscious being, inviting and guiding them along the path of all-embracing love. This Mahayana mind never succumbs to fear, anxiety, or depression, and is never overwhelmed by strange adventures of awareness in the 3 realms of relativity: mundane form, sublime form, and formlessness.
So how do you understand that the Mahayana is a compassionate and liberating illumination of our conventional universe through objectless knowing? How do you understand this objectless knowing?
No separation.
What else?
Seamlessness and then also just this maintain this mind.
Mm.
Non-duality,
What else?
not knowing.
Not knowing. What else? Anyone from home? You can jump in, please. Not you and not me and no others. This is very important, that kind of knowing. Subjectless, objectless knowing. Okay, other question. How would you describe the Bodhisattva? I would like you to, by answering, to you reread the definition of Bodhisattva slowly, because this is so powerful. This is such a revelation that we are taught what actually a Bodhisattva is and what a Bodhisattva looks like beyond likes, beyond looks. Who wants to read it?
Didn't hear what she said.
You.
I didn't hear.
Read this.
What's that?
The italicized part.
Oh, you want me to read it?
Yeah, I said that it's so powerful, the description of what a bodhisattva is, that it's worth that we read it loudly and slowly so we
Oh.
can all
Okay.
soak in what actually a bodhisattva is, because it had never been described this way and we don't really know what a bodhisattva looks like or what are we, longing for. And it's so powerful, this description. Yeah.
The Bodhisattva will always maintain a motherly mind, consecrated to the constant protection, education, and maturing of conscious beings, inviting and guiding them along the path of all-embracing love. The Mahayana mind never succumbs to fear, anxiety, or depression, and is never overwhelmed by strange adventures of awareness in the three realms of relativity: mundane form, sublime form, and formlessness.
This mundane form refers to the Nirmanakaya, sublime form, Sambhogakaya, and formlessness, Dharmakaya. What is the Mahayana mind?
Never succumbs to fear, anxiety, or depression, and is never overwhelmed by strange adventures of awareness in the three realms. Relative.
And like you guys said, a motherly mind. So we are so rooted in that motherly mind, in that spirit of the Bodhisattva, then that's the only reason why we cannot succumb to fear, depression, anxiety, and all of that. We have to be very rooted in this mind, and this is the practice that we do here, and that's the practice that we practice. Okay, so the next one.
I can read it.
Okay.
To sustain with wonderful courage and compassion, the Bodhisattva drinks the mother's milk of transcendence, insight, in the Prajnaparamita Sutra. The Prajnaparamita is mother, creator, native ground, and in omniscience for every past, present, and future Buddha or awakened one. All conscious beings, including ourselves, are these future Buddhas, still evolving toward omniscience. In Buddhist thought, omniscience refers not to the fantastic power of all-seeing and all-knowing, but to the objectlessness, knowing, so cherished and revered by the Mahayana. Knowing is called wisdom or transcendence, insight into emptiness.
Thank you. So what is Prajnaparamita again? Who wanna reread that part? That is so powerful. It's so mind exploding. know that that's a word, mind exploding. Do you want to?
Prajnaparamita is mother, creator, native ground, and tender wet nurse in omniscience for every past, present, and future Buddha or awakened one.
Okay. One more question. And who are these future Buddhas that we are waiting for to save us? Who are these future Buddhas?
All of us.
What does it say here? What does it say here? All conscious beings, including ourselves, are these future Buddhas still evolving towards omniscience. Did you say omniscience like that?
Yeah, omniscience.
Omniscience, okay. Yeah, so we are looking for ourselves to come to save us. What is omniscience in Buddhism?
Subjectless, objectless knowing.
Yeah, it's the same. It is the same that we saw before. Yeah, that we discussed before. That kind of knowing is not conceptual. It's not intellectual. It's the knowing of the universe that suddenly flows through the bodhisattva. It's beyond the human mind, but it can flow through the human through practice.
Mm. Yeah, I think the last line is important too. Like clarify something. Knowing is called wisdom or transcendent insight into emptiness. So this subjectless, objectless knowing is insight into emptiness.
Yeah, if there is no object and not subject, it has to be empty. The knowing of emptiness.
Would you say that this Prajnaparamita is reaching out to us like a mother to brought us to wake up?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the Prajnaparamita Sutra is written by the Buddha. Are the words of the Buddha and his most cherished disciples, like we saw in the Dharma Sutra, like Subhuti and the others that right now. Subhuti, so Ananda, who else? Do you remember the other ones? Well, anyway, we'll look at them tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll start with the actual sutra. Today is the preparation to open our heart to properly receive this most sacred sutra. And I want you to tie your seatbelt for tomorrow. Because the sutra takes us into a journey through emptiness, and emptiness is very difficult to speak of, because the moment you speak of emptiness, then it's not empty anymore. But this is a masterpiece of sutra, that the way it talks about emptiness, if your mind is open, you can actually be enlightened at that instant. At that instant. So don't eat a lot tomorrow. We have only one last part, right? Volunteer at home, here, anywhere?
I'll read it.
Okay, thank you.
Lex Hixon in Mother of the Buddhas, originally translated by Edward Cones,
Konsi.
expands in his contemplation of 40 selected passages. He says, "My experience of expanding upon passages from the ancient scripture has convinced me that the sutra is spiritually alive. The greatest master of the Buddhist dialectical philosophy of enlightenment was Nagarjuna, who we mentioned before. He rooted his thoughts in the rich soil of the Prajnaparamita Sutra of 8,000 lines. Prajnaparamita is revelation, not exposition. To immerse oneself in the sutra is to swim in an ocean that is sometimes awesomely calm and other times is filled with thunderous waves. These are the sutra's two principal themes. Its stillness is transcendent insight, and its turbulence a flood of overwhelming compassion."
Who translated the original text that Lex Hixon uses in his meditations on the Prajnaparamita Sutra? Oh, Edward Konsi, yay! Don't be afraid to be like the best kid in the class.
I think kids probably teachers that. He answered all those questions.
I was dying to use that phrase. I was just stole the phrase from it.
What was it?
Teacher's pet. I was waiting to throw that.
Say it again. Say what? I didn't get that.
Teacher's pet.
Teacher's pet.
Yeah.
Oh, it will be that subjectless, objectless.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
I have it in my back pocket being stolen.
But if it's subjectless and objectless, then we're all the teacher's pets, right?
Yeah.
None of us are teachers.
Yeah.
And the teachers are your pets. Okay, let's see what other quiz questions we have. Yeah, this is very important. What does Lex Hixon say about the sutra?
It's alive.
That is alive. That is alive. That this sutra is alive. These are not dead words that we're going to be entering tomorrow.
Maybe I should say a word about who Lex Hixon is.
Yes, please.
He, if you look him up, Google him, you find out that he's a well-known Sufi. But but he's a scholar in many different spiritual traditions. He lived in New York, and he had a radio show in New York City where he invited spiritual leaders to come in and he interviewed them. And Bernie Glassman, who's my mentor and Dharma brother and founder of Zen Peacemakers, was one of the people he interviewed. And then after that, he asked Bernie if Bernie would be his teacher. And Lex Hixon studied with Bernie Glassman, and I think books like this that he wrote, The Mother of the Buddha, contemplating the Prajnaparamita Sutra of 8,000 lines, came out of his studies of Buddhism with Bernie Glassman, and he became a successor to Bernie Glassman, so he's actually a teacher in the White Plum lineage, as well as being a well-known Sufi teacher. But unfortunately, he died about 10 years ago, I think it was. But he came from a very wealthy family and contributed quite a bit to the Grayston Foundation, which Bernie Glassman started. His wife, Sheila, who I know, is also quite involved in Zen Peacemakers.
So it's so wonderful that he is in our same lineage. that he is in our same white plum, asanga, and so wonderful. What is the difference between revelation and exposition?
Something just being revealed to us as opposed to requiring our thinking mind to.
Everyone wants to add anything to that?
It's awesomely calm, and other times
No, wait, that's another question. I mean, just to the idea of revelation versus exposition. You know, revelation points to the fact that it's a sutra that is alive. So it reveals to us, while exposition is like Sensei said, it's just conceptual, it's intellectual. And in Zen, those kind of things are considered what? Dead, as opposed to alive. And that's current. This is the next question. What are the sutra's two principal themes?
sometimes awesomely calm, and other times filled with thunder's wave.
Yeah. Can't wait for those waves. Can't wait for the waves. And then at the end, says, what is, if you can read the last part again, the last very paragraph.
You know, these are the sutra's two principal themes. Its stillness, its transcendent insight, and its turbulence of blood of overwhelming compassion.
So now discussion. We are open to the discussion.
No. I just want to add a couple of things. One, I've heard it said many times that that Buddhism needs two wings to fly like a bird. And this last paragraph points out the two wings. One of them is wisdom, and then the other is compassion. Both of them have to come together. And I was taught that compassion is a natural outcome of wisdom, seeing, and that you see the interconnectedness, the oneness and interconnectedness of life through this objectless, subjectless knowing. And seeing that, compassion naturally arises, loving compassion for everybody, everything. So that's a very important paragraph. The other thing that I wanted to mention, when people receive Chikai in our lineage, the preceptor says something like, don't follow dualistic or misleading ways. And it says that right in here in the section, I think it's in the section 4, maybe in the section 3. Yeah, at the end of section 3, very end, it says that Prajnaparamita is a very exacting mother, fiercely determined that no harm shall befall her children from any sort of error or misunderstanding. And that's, to me, that's what it means, is don't allow the children to fall into dualism or misleading ways. So if you read embody the sutra, you can't help but not fall into error and misunderstandings. It's constantly correcting the erroneous ways of thinking or being. And like Roshi Shinko said, tomorrow we'll start studying the sutra itself.
But now is the discussion, right?
Yeah.
Are you excited about starting the sutra tomorrow? It just blew my mind. Blew or blows? Blew? Both is are correct. Okay. My mind that, like breastfeeding your kid had been almost taboo in society, that you have to hide and have like these things so nobody sees you. And that here in the sutra said that Prajnaparamita is a wet nurse. And that the Bodhisattva drinks from the milk, the mother's milk of omniscience. It's like, wow. That's to me, but I want to hear what impacted you. From what impacted you, Kado, most from what we read today?
The description of the Bodhisattva, I
The
think.
Bodhisattva. Yeah.
I mean, it's all. I enjoyed it all, and I kind of, I of course, like Zen, of course, a lot, but I do miss or wish sometimes, not this song, but in general, that Zen did a little bit more like Buddhist education.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done it all on my own, and you fall into errors doing it on your own. But,
yeah, like Dharma talks, especially, during retreats. That's what I did in my training, just going to a lot of retreats. That's where I got all my Buddhist education, not for reading books. So it's an important time that for us to learn about our tradition in a way that is not so conceptual. What about you?
Well, I too like the wet nurse image, but I will say I also like the most condensed aspect of the sutra being because that you can carry everywhere.
Yeah. Can we say it?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know I could do that.
Can I say one other thing?
Yeah.
Just when you were saying that like the wisdom and compassion are both wings, is like very throat opening, which connects the heart and the head too. Like so I just feel like even in the body it has that resonance.
Yeah. All right. What else?
For me, I like the legend of Nagarjuna, and I find it intriguing that the sutras were hidden for 400 years, and they had to be brought back, and then even today, it's not necessarily knowledge that circulates everywhere. So the mysterious power of the sutra calls my attention.
Yeah. I have to tell you, like, I took time off this morning, and I'm gonna take time off tomorrow morning to just totally immerse myself in the sutra that we are gonna discuss. Discuss. We can discuss. on the sutra tomorrow, and for me, going into the sutra was into the depth of the sutra of tomorrow was almost like diving in a deep ocean, and once in a while I have to go out and breathe in the surface and then go back down again. So I it made me think of Nagarjuna, and the legend of the Nagas, what kind of realm that took place, It's not literally, it's the ocean of mind that he had to travel through. And then the sutra talks also about human beings and subtle beings. So what kind of dragons are the Nagas, So I had that feeling of going into deep ocean and then I have to go out, breathe, and go again and submerge myself in the sutra and remind me of Nagarjuna. Anyone else?
I've got a bit of a question. I was really struck by this phrase, never overwhelmed by strange adventures of awareness in the three realms of relativity, mundane form, sublime form, and formlessness. And I get not being overwhelmed by strange adventures of awareness in mundane form and even in sublime form. But why is formlessness in there as a realm of relativity? I mean, I understand that it refers to the Dharmakaya, but overwhelmed by strange adventures of awareness and formlessness. I wonder if you have any comment on that.
He said that he had a bit of a question, so you can give him a bit of an answer.
Well, as you know, people can have strange experiences when they're meditating, or seem strange because there's no point of reference in them in their ordinary life. But I think it's said to not be overwhelmed by I don't know the exact wording, but not to be overwhelmed by it.
That's what struck me. Is that That's what struck me, is overwhelmed by. Yeah.
So I think that's the important point. We haven't talked much about it lately, but there's a phenomenon called makyo, which occurs when people are meditating, and from what I understand, it occurs when the mind, the breath, and the body are not quite synchronized, and very strange things can happen. Particularly if you're meditating in a room with a patterned carpet or patterns on the wall or plastering on the wall that's not completely smooth, you can start seeing objects and things in there. And sometimes people get frightened by them, so they get overwhelmed. And everything can maybe suddenly go bright white, or it can go dark black, or you might feel like you're floating off your cushion, or you might feel like you're sinking down into the center of the earth. But all of these are just illusions. And so to not be overwhelmed by it is what the sutra is encouraging us to do. Don't get fascinated by them, and don't get frightened of them. Just let them be. And as your practice deepens, the makyo goes away. I used to love makyos, but as my practice deepened, they went away, and it's kind of like saying goodbye to a good friend. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm still a little I'm still a little interested in. See, I would think that that kind of visionary stuff would be sublime form, formlessness. I don't know. I guess it's how you interpret it, isn't it? You know, it's. I guess you're right. Makyos are formless in a sense, in that they're empty. They don't exist. So, but I
Well,
was,
Makyo,
but the Dharmakaya is beyond those kind of visions, right? So that's why I was wondering, you know, in absolute emptiness, how do you get overwhelmed? That's, you know.
yeah, yeah, but it's also Makyos occur as your practice starts to deepen too. I mean, and then you go through it. It's like going through the thermocline in the ocean. You're diving down, you know, but then you keep going, and then they appear and then they disappear.
Anyway, just like that phrase very much. It's very interesting. Strange adventures of awareness. I've had them too.
I'm a visionary myself, and I trust my vision. I no doubt of my vision. Emptiness, there is no end to emptiness. So when people hear about emptiness, most people get frightened because we are obviously afraid of what we don't know. But once you enter into emptiness and you keep entering into emptiness and you keep going deeper into emptiness, it's like that ocean of mind. It's bottomless. It's bottomless and it's empty, and yet you feel so complete and so loved and so supported and so fulfilled that even if a thought might come, like say, if you give another step, you're gonna die, I say, I'll take it. I'll take it. But yeah, there are gates. There are gates. There are death gates that you have to pass. And it's only the great love for the practice, the great trust for the practice, that you take the next step, even at the makyo of, if you don't give one more step, you die. It's always something good in there by this time. When I had that thought, it's like there must be something really good in there that my ego thinks that if I give one more step, I'm gonna die. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Anyone else? And I wonder if we should end Keido reading again the description of the Bodhisattva.
Okay, sure. The Bodhisattva will always maintain a motherly mind, consecrated to the constant protection, education, and maturing of conscious beings, inviting and guiding them along the path of all-embracing love. The Mahayana mind never succumbs to fear, anxiety, or depression, and is never overwhelmed by strange adventures of awareness in the three realms of relativity: mundane form, sublime form, and formlessness.
Thank you.